Madam Speaker, during these few days, I've had the opportunity to listen to people from various quarters. And if we had to narrow down the critics that has been leveled against the budget, especially from some prophets of dooms, Madam Speaker, can be summarized as follows. Que, premièrement, c'est un budget électoraliste. We will see. I'll come to it in a few minutes. Secondly, the economic indicators are in the red, that the level of debt is so high. And third, that there is no value addition to the economy et qu'il n'y a que des effets d'annonce. Madam Speaker, let me come to the first critique leveled against the budget and the budget proposals. Madam Speaker, I think some people have not learned their lessons of 2014. When people were claiming 60-0, they were treating the population as fools. Madam Speaker, what happened in 2014? They have not learned their lesson. When we say that c'est un budget électoraliste, we are insulting this population outside there, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Prime Minister was on TV yesterday to explain the budget, and he said that we had the level of the government, and he personally has been il a toujours été consistant dans son approche. Just have a look at our budgetary proposals, year in, year out. We have been consistent. And c'est insulter la population if we say that with the proposals that we have in this budget, that we can easily fool them. C'est une insulte. So what we are saying, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I came across the autobiography of one of the business tycoons recently in the UAE. And you know what he had to say, Madam Speaker? He said something really beautiful in his autobiography, that God has given us 2 years and 1 tongue. It's not for nothing, Madam Speaker. It's not for nothing. And let me tell you, Madam Speaker, that there has been, let me tell you, Madam Speaker, that some people, when they are saying que c'est un budget électoraliste, do you know what they want to say? That the vote, and this is important, that the vote of our elders is worth 500 rupees. This is what you're saying. That we can, when we are proposing 500 rupees to our elders, do you mean to say that we are as if this is what is worth, this 500 rupees is what is their vote worth of? This is what we are saying? Are we saying, Madam Speaker, that the vote of taxi drivers is worth a little effort that this government has been doing in terms of giving them this duty-free benefit? Are we saying, Madam Speaker, that the vote of the majority of our civil servants is worth this 1,000 rupees increase in their salary? This is what we want. This is the signal that some people are sending to the population. It's because they have not learned their lesson, Madam Speaker. 60-0, 40 plus 40, 80 to 14. Madam Speaker, is this what we are saying? No, Madam Speaker. What the Prime Minister, I was listening also to the Prime Minister, newly elected, Sri Narendra Modi, who stated that, Madam Speaker, he never considers the electorate as a vote bank. He's there to serve the entire population, irrespective of the color of their skin, of the political party they belong, of the social status they represent. He's there to serve everybody. And it is in that spirit that our Prime Minister has prepared this budget and presented to the National Assembly, Madam Speaker. And not this year only, year in, year out, this has been the case. And I'll come to those people who are saying that it's les faits d'annonce. I'll come to that, Madam Speaker. But let me come to the critics leveled against the management of public affairs, the management of critics leveled against this budget and the economic indicators today. Madam Speaker, there are two extremes. You know, some people, when they are in the government, they are as realistic as possible. And when they go into the opposition, they are more than idealistic. This is what they are. And lately, Madam Speaker, I came across what Hillary Rodham Clinton, very beautiful line after, in one of her latest book, What Happened. You know what she said, Madam Speaker? That the challenge of a leader is to strike the right balance between being idealistic and being realistic. And this is what we have been doing year in, year out, Madam Speaker. So every year, since 9, 10, 11 years, we'll say to the population, you know, the economic indicators are in the red. I'll come to what happened during the 9 years that the LP government was in power. In my constituency, I'll come, and then I'll show what we did during these 4 years. Madam Speaker, what are the critics that is being leveled against this government, Madam Speaker? Economic indicators, lack of transparency in our fiscal and public debt management, competitiveness of our country, drivers of growth is in the red, we are stuck in the middle income trap, the overall average target for employment creation is well below expectation. These are series, year in, year out, we've been saying the same thing to the population, Madam Speaker, since 10 years. But when we were campaigning in 2014, we said something different. We said that irrespective of these economic indicators, we will bring development. We will ensure that we will keep your promise. But how are we going to do this, Madam Speaker? Are we going to repeat the same exercise that the former government did? Are we going to tell them that, look, we are internally in a very difficult economic situation? No, Madam Speaker. This is what the Prime Minister and this government has been doing, trying to strike the right balance between being realistic and being idealistic. This is what we've been doing, Madam Speaker. And in this exercise, Madam Speaker, what have we been doing during these recent years? You will remember, I had the opportunity to mention this when the Prime Minister was appointed Minister of Finance. I told you earlier, Madam Speaker, we've got 2 years and 1 tongue. For a reason, God gave us 2 years and a tongue. The Prime Minister decided to visit every constituency and take stock of what were the problems that the people were facing. And he came in our constituency as well, Madam Speaker. And since he was appointed Prime Minister, he took a series of measures. He took a series of measures and ensured, along with us, that those promises were kept. And what were those promises, Madam Speaker? So, the first critique, Madam Speaker, I'll come to those promises in a minute. So the first critique, Madam Speaker, was the issue of, as I mentioned earlier, was this issue of budget électoraliste. Second, everybody saying that the economic indicators are in the right, that the budget hasn't made any provision for addressing those indicators. But when we come to the third critique that is being leveled against this government, no value addition, effet d'annonce, nothing is happening. So let me come to my constituency and let us see if this is true. And let us see whether we have been able, whether the Prime Minister has been able to strike this balance between being idealistic and realistic. And what I want to show, Madam Speaker, is that what those figures are worth. If you are saying for a minute, let's for a minute agree that between 2009 and 2014, the figures in different sectors were better than us. It's not enough to say this. You have also to say how the population benefited from those figures. You need to justify what worth those figures were. And we are going to tell the population what worth our figures are today, Madam Speaker. Let me tell you, when we were campaigning in 2014, I'll take some villages in my constituency. Do you know, Madam Speaker, Poudredo is the only village where during a football match, you take a corner kick from a classified road. That was the situation in 2014. When you are playing a football match, if you've got to take a corner kick, you have to put the ball on a classified road, and then you take the corner kick from there. This is what was happening. This is the reality. And Maurice and Poudredo is famous for this. And they told us that we are waiting since 25 years, 25 years for a proper football ground. And what we have done, the Prime Minister, what has he done, Madam Speaker? He allocated more than 5 million rupees. And I have to thank Compagnie Monsoisie and Compagnie Saint-Antoine. They contributed almost 2.53 million rupees and a plot of land. Next month, Madam Speaker, next month, the football ground with all the amenities, lights, everything would be ready. Next month it will be ready, Madam Speaker. Good lens, Madam Speaker. At the very beginning of our mandate, we understood that the people needed badly a proper market fair and a traffic center. And we discussed with the Prime Minister, and the Honorable Minister of Public Infrastructure collaborated fully with us. He delegated 2 engineers. We worked with Mr. Chakan, the chairman of the district council in the north. During 3 years, plans were prepared. We negotiated with Saint-Antoine. We got 11 acres of land free of charge. And the Prime Minister personally intervened, and he told her that he wants this project done during our mandate. And you know what has happened, Madam Speaker? I have the latest information. The letter of award is being issued for 300 million rupees in 1 week's time. Works is going to start in less than 1 month, Madam Speaker. This is striking the right balance. What the figures that Mr. Sitanani is mentioning in the papers are worth? What are these figures are worth? You've got better figures during the 9 years the LP government was in power. You know what these figures are worth? In Goodlands, a bypass and a medical clinic. Only this in 9 years, and I challenge them to come and challenge what I'm saying. Madam Speaker, only a medical clinic worth, I think, around 40 million, and a bypass less than 100 million, maybe 75 million rupees. 150 million rupees in 9 years on projects. But I'll come to what we have invested and what we are going to invest, because projects has already been awarded. Goodlands. Now, Madam Speaker, Honorable Adrian Jivali there, he's by mandate. He was insisting that we have to improve the road network in Kalojin, Gangop. And he knows perfectly well what the situation was. From Goodlands to Kalojin, and all the way from Kalojin to Trois Bras. In these 3 years, 40 million rupees has been spent in the resurfacing, and the road network has been improved. And he has to admit that we've been working, Madam Speaker. This has been done. And this was the aspiration of the population in 2014. And we have met the aspiration, Madam Speaker. Let me come to Cap Malheureux. Cap Malheureux, Madam Speaker, and Pérébert. Improvement in the water network, water supply. More than 150 million rupees has been invested. And you know, when we were just elected, almost every week, my honorable friend Faudo is going to confirm, every week, the acute problem of water in these regions like Pérébert, Grand Bay, Cap Malheureux. Today, Madam Speaker, since a year, all these problems has been resolved. And the Deputy Prime Minister personally followed this project, and I know it. And I'd like to thank him for that. Madam Speaker, more than 150 million rupees are worth of project there for the improvement in water supply. Now the works have started for the Cap Malere bypass project. 200 million rupees. Work has already started, Madam Speaker. By Cap Malere bypass, 200 million. Let me tell you, Madam Speaker, that when the Prime Minister, as Minister of Finance, visited Pérébert and Cancarol, immediately, because there were flood problems there, immediately he gave instruction to the NDU to make a survey and ensure that these problems, these flood problems are solved at the areas. In these 3 years, Madam Speaker, consultants have been working, tender has been floated, work started, works are about to be completed, a project of almost 90 million, 55 million in Pérébert and more than 30 million in Grand Bay. This is what our figures are worth, Madam Speaker. When you talk of economic indicators, this is what our figures are worth. Now I come to Fonds du Sac. Madam Speaker, Fonds du Sac. Everybody knows that the flood problem hasn't started since 2014. It was there since long. And the Prime Minister had the opportunity to comment on a statement made by a former Minister of Public Infrastructure, which was false. They issued tender and then it was cancelled. But we started, Madam Speaker, in 2014-15, and now here you have to pay tribute to those civil servants who have been working in extreme conditions, because I and our colleagues who were there in the CAB office, every month we were making a follow-up with these civil servants and the consultant as well. They've been working extremely hard. We have been successful in securing the plot of land from the planters. And a project of 102 million. The contract has been awarded and work already started at Fonds du Sac, Madam Speaker. Now, when we visited Fonds du Sac again, the condition of that market fair, and I must, Madam Speaker, here, once again, because in this budget, the Prime Minister, in fact, and even if there are budgetary constraints, he agreed that we have to provide a new market fair at Fonds du Sac. And that is, Madam Speaker, something, again, for more than 20-25 years, those inhabitants have been waiting for. And again, we would like, this is the collaboration between the private sector and the government, which is extremely interesting. The Montsoisy company, Madam Speaker, we have to pay tribute to them. They have accepted to give us a plot of land, 5 acres, for the construction of a market fair. And the MOU is being signed, and funds earmarked for the construction of a market fair. And if you look at its deplorable state, the deplorable state in which this market fair, Madam Speaker, people, there's no structure. On rainy days, it's muddy everywhere. You know, no structure, it's no open air. In 2014, 15, 16, Madam Speaker, you can't accept this. And I'm happy that we are providing a solution to these people, and very soon, they also, people of Fonds du Sac are going to get a market fair, a proper market fair for them, Madam Speaker. Finally, in the case of, in my constituency, Madam Speaker, I'm listing this project only to show, Madam Speaker, that we are walking the talk since 2015. It's not only les faits d'annonce. All these projects that I mentioned est en chantier. Some have reached up to 80%, Madam Speaker. Finally, in Vale and Fonds du Sac, in Vale and Petit-Rafré, construction of new, which has been completed, construction of village halls, new lighting facilities to the Vale football ground, and a multi-purpose complex in Petit-Rafré, and another one very near in Réunion Morel very soon. And I forgot also, Madam Speaker, that very soon inhabitants of Grand Bay are going to get their medical, their health center, because the plans, drawings are ready, and the tender is going to be floated. Madam Speaker, we've got a lot of projects. I was mentioning Petit-Rafré, I was mentioning, these projects, Madam Speaker, have reached, most of them, déjà en chantier. Only to tell you, Madam Speaker, again, that we are working there. So it's important when we talk of economic indicators that we ask ourselves, Madam Speaker, that what these economic indicators are worth. It's important for us to ask this question, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, I'm not going to be long. I have been mentioning those three issues that I consider we had to reply to them. And I believe that this budget is a budget that is for the population. And it is not a budget électoraliste. It is not a budget that is there for the coming election. We are convinced, Madam Speaker, that the promises that we've been taking in 2014, we have been keeping them. We have been very sensible to the problems of the population. And, Madam Speaker, this, as I said earlier, this budget has been prepared in a spirit to bring development and to bring the prosperity to the nation, to the people, irrespective of, as I said earlier, of the background, irrespective of the social status, irrespective of which political party they belong. And before resuming my seat, Madam Speaker, let me conclude by saying this. Madam Speaker, everybody knows that the Prime Minister, during his mandate, has been going through extremely hard times. And it is important for me to end by saying a few lines. That is not mine, but that of Nelson Mandela. And this is a tribute to the youth of this country and a way of saying thank you to the Prime Minister for what he has been doing during these 4.5 years, because without his support, nothing would have been possible. All the projects that I have just mentioned, nothing would have been possible without his support. And let me quote Nelson Mandela, Madam Speaker. If our expectations, if our fondest prayers and dreams are not realized, then we shall bear in mind that the greatest glory of living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Thank you, Madam Speaker.